Hello, everyone. Sunday evening, about that time, we're here. Doug will be joining me soon. I see that the conversation from Sunday on building our lives and how we manage being here and leaving something for our children. I think many of you love it. There were a lot of people still sharing it, although we're only on for a few minutes, but there were more people who came through watching it. I just want to say, thank you for watching. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about building an economy to last, of with inclusion. All right, the other nations have done it. We make some recommendations on small business, how the government can help to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Um, Talking about creating a middle class. That's what we're going to be talking about. All right. You know what? This keep opening up to this. So, thank you. So, if you're here, please share. If you're here, please share. Okay. So we're gonna be here with you for an hour. We know there's a lot going on in our community, but we want to focus on how we can add our voices, how we can make a difference. People can yelling, you don't do this, you don't do that, how we can give recommendation and to see how we can forge forward. Hey, Davin. So that's what we'll be talking about today. So if you're here, please share. Building a nation to last, building a nation for all, or nation building for all, per se. Where am I? Let me do this. Give me 1 second. All right. How do we build our country? How do we? I know a lot of people like to hear the yelling, the screaming, the cussing. We're not here for that. We've done enough of that. There's a time and place and season for everything. Um, it is not a season for that. For now, we want to see because our people are suffering. People are dying. Today, one of our children we helped to send to Rwanda just lost his mom. He didn't even hear his mother was sick. He talked to his mom. His mom was okay. All of a sudden, his mother is there. It could be me and be anybody because we don't have good healthcare system in Liberia. Okay. When we create a middle class, when other jobs are attractive, okay. So first we're gonna talk about how does this happen? How do we get this done? All right. So I'm gonna speak directly to Omen. There she is. There she is. We both got red hair. Hey Doc,
Yeah.
you glowing. You're
Hi. I saw
glowing.
your red hair while you're
I do.
it's a
I
lighting, you
do.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um
I
the
saw that.
the
That looks
one of my
beautiful.
colleagues said, "You're wearing that red." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." Trying something new. Yes.
Of course.
Oh,
That's right.
Archibald.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So just telling everyone that you're coming, that we're here again. I'm not sure what's going on with the station in the Nimba, but there's a need to talk to chairman, then we can be on the air in Morovia where other people, and then we can be on the air where we used to be in the other radio station, Nimba Radio, because they don't go off because it's a community radio when it rains and all of that. So, but that's a conversation for another day. We wanted to come to you or to talk to you about nation building per se. How do we create a middle class, how other people have done it, and make some recommendation. I particularly, Doc and I were talking last night and this morning. We got a Sunday morning folk who go to church, and we were having a conversation because I hear the president say he's talking to the middle class, and I don't know what that means. We don't talk to the middle class; we create the middle class, right, Doc?
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, so we know that as you were explaining to me this morning, most nations are basically ran by the private sectors, and majority of the people in the private sectors are people who are in the high, middle, and low classes of the country. So for me, I want to focus on what is it that we Liberians can do. A lot of times when we come here, we say, "Oh, the government need to provide this. The government need to provide good school, good roads, viable economic environment," and it's true. Okay, the government in our country has not consistently played a strong, active, robust role in creating a fair share for everyone. I will be the first person to say that. But the question is, and you can also chime in, what is it that we Liberians are doing that may prevent or hinder the economic environment in our country? What is it that we are doing? So, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I can add up to what we are doing. What we are doing is the last government, not George Weah government per se, the first UP government that was led by both Papi Bouaka and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Madam Sirleaf. I think they have a lot of economists in our particular government, and they understood to some degree what was required to kind of stabilize the economy, to bring it to where it needs to be for the international community to get involved, because we were coming from war. We have people like Dr. Gompu, who is an economist and a PhD in economics and a professor. You have another economist like Manisia, who is a professor and what do you call it, a scholar in different economic theory and actuality. You have Anthony Saye, who is a guru in economics. We have all of these people on board, right? And then we have Mill Jones, Dr. Mill Jones, who were also there. And I think they came up with an idea where they said, just like they do in other countries, we're going to focus on small businesses, business incubator. And we will set aside $10 million to infuse it, to get people, and which was the right direction. The idea behind it was right. That's what most countries would do that want to change, right? But when the money actually became available, we Liberians who knew about it, we decided we will create all the fictitious company that were already in government, okay, to siphon the money. Okay, so
yes.
And this is why I'm going to stop here and agree with you. How have we hindered ourselves, and what can we do? Then we'll talk to the government. I agree with you. It just when you said that, my light bulb came up. Yes.
Yes. Actually, you saying the correct thing. So here we are. Okay, from the government's perspective, and there's two people I feel that have a part to play in siphoning the money out of the hands of Liberians. Okay, I believe the people that worked with the government who are in charge of this distribution of money to the Liberian people did not do it fairly, did not consider the Liberian people. They probably were honoring and selecting their family members first. They probably were not completing the paperwork in a just way, in a way to make sure that everybody met the criteria. They probably did not spread the news around. Again, information dissemination to the people. Yes, to the people who should have or needed to have that information. So on our government part, this is something that historical in our government, Yesenia, I'm sure you can agree with me on this, that a lot of times when these programs come up, and these programs are not free either. It's either our government is taking a loan, or perhaps somebody is granting this to us because they want something from us. These things are often not free. Okay.
Right.
So when we get these programs over historically, over the past couple of years, people have shared the information to people who their family members, their close friends, or their friends. Okay. It did not go to the people who perhaps needed the money, who needed the help, the average Liberian man, or perhaps the below average Liberian man. So that's the first thing I want to say about that. Number two, the people who they put in charge of these loans, were they competent? Did they have the knowledge plus the character to critically think? Okay. Being competent is, yeah, you can have the knowledge, yes. We can say, okay, you're competent in it, but are you critically thinking about how our country will develop? Did you have the integrity to think about the next man? Okay.
That's the big word, the right word, integrity. It's a big word, but it's the right word. Yes. Mm-hmm. Go
Yes.
ahead, Doc. Great job.
to,
Yes.
to,
Mm-hmm.
to think about your neighbors, to think about someone else other than you and your family, people other than enriching yourself, because we know that this is what has been happening. Okay. And then lastly, when you fill up that paperwork, were you filling it up in a way where our government were benefiting from it? you know were you filling up in a way that were accurate information? Okay. Or were you going to photocopy information that you didn't know makes sense? Were you being intentional to make sure that the paper, or were you just going with the flow? All right. Did you object to things that you didn't like to see? Or did you object to things that were cheating the government out of maybe taxes, payments, and all of those things? And those are the questions. So I think that's the government side now. But now,
Mm-hmm.
and the second part would be with our own Liberian people.
Mm-hmm.
Our
Yeah.
own Liberian. If you take money from the government and you didn't pay your loan back, or you didn't pay if they give you certain agreements or something, and you didn't do that, you just
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
just because maybe you felt like, oh, the government has no way of tracking this, because which we probably don't have any way of tracking this, or so when you do that, it's like when you don't pay what is due to the government,
Mm-hmm.
you cheat the government out of out of revenue. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You treat the government out of making development, because then the government, if you bankrupt on your loan, or you forfeit your loan, then the government has to step up. The government has to go to uh, pay for your loan by going to the insurance company. And when it goes to the insurance company, it makes the government be placed on one of the high risk lists, okay, where the government will not be able to easily get loan to do the things that we need to do in our country. By you not paying your loan, you cannot ask for us to have a good CT scan machine, or good roads, or good education, because you, as a Liberian, you're not paying your role, or playing the role that you're supposed to play in the country, right, Cindy?
Yes, that is so profound, and that is so again profound, because we are here. Everybody's saying the government is this, government is that, right? So we just gave you a common example. 10 million set aside to empower Liberian small businesses. If you look around the world, especially where you and I live, 90% of the employment is done by small businesses. In fact, the economic, the background, the backbone of the economy in this country is small businesses. That's why you see when natural disaster happen, the government will come in and step in for them, because they have to keep America working. They have to keep, because that's how taxes come. Okay, that's the majority of the taxes that we use to pave the road, to pay to teachers, to do that, come from employment taxes, individual employment taxes, right? And small businesses, and the small businesses have to hire, then they have to pay taxes. Now, we're all pointing our finger at the government. We'll come for the government, but we're coming for you as a Liberian. We're coming for you, our brothers and sisters. What is your role that you have played? And the doc said, you're working for the government. You know where the money is. I had a conversation with a young man who is into talking to Liberians in Liberia, and into youth development and individual development. He said, what they would do, okay? And I believe him, because it happened to us before. What they would do is their money in the international community for different projects, but they would not come up with an idea. Let's say, for instance, you and I go to Liberia, we'll come up with an idea, we'll write a proposal. What they will do when we carry our proposal, they will say, give it to them. When you give it to them, when you come back, and it happened to me and my husband before, so I can speak to that. They will take somebody else's name, take your name of the proposal, copy it, and post somebody that they know that they can share whatever the fund is with that person. So when you spoke about integrity, right? While we were talking about the government road and the government failure, let's talk about our failure as a nation. Okay, there were people who were in government. For instance, one of the guy that is appointed, was it Newman Pearson, owes over, they say, $80,000. He didn't pay. Our own big brother, Mel Jones, still owe $5 million. He didn't pay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So how do we the Liberians ourselves, we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, what role have we played or play? I mean, to in empower our community.
Yeah. I'm reading what Lofa Julius is writing. He said, how can we honest Lofa, why don't you come on and discuss some of the corrupt individual you make a good addition to the show if you come on and talk about who you know that are willingly working with corrupt individuals in the government. But your point is valid. Your point is definitely valid. And we're speaking about, I want to preference, we are speaking about Liberian government and what happens in Liberia. We know that the government system in the United States work. It may not be perfect, okay, but it works well. So if you're in America and you're corrupt, the system knows how to take care of you when you are discovered. Yes. So I'm happy that I live in a country where, the system can take care of corrupt individuals. So I don't know if that's what you're implying.
Yeah, look how you can come on. You're welcome to come on. Let's talk about those individuals.
Yes.
Okay. So that, let's go back. Let's read. We just talked about, because the first conversation we started with small businesses, how small businesses is the driver of any economy, even in this great United States. It accounts for 50% of the employment here, 99% of the job created in this country. Okay. Let's say of the income. All right. Although you have few big businesses, yes. So he said he made insincerity. Okay. Yeah. So, but he can still come on.
Come on, express himself. Yeah.
You can still come on. We'd love to have your voice. So today, that's what we want to focus on, because we have beat up on the government, and we're still beat up on the government, because no matter how wrong we are, it is the responsibility that what they're chosen to redirect the nation, to hold people accountable. Like the old man said in his interview on Arise Africa, he said there were corruption every day, because the corruption, the impunity, when he comes to power, these things will be dealt with. So we can talk about that, but then we want to talk about ourselves as Liberian. What role have we played? We take loans that we're supposed to. Let me say that you remember, and where the little girl is here, Rosa is here.
Yes, Rosa is here.
We gave the money to Rosa to get small business loan in her community. The money never came back. In fact, the last $300, one lady came and got it. The woman in her community, Rosa, here, me, I put you on blast. Okay. The money was a total. We started with a total of $1,000. Huh?
That is so true. That is so true.
The woman took the $300, never paid, to the point that Rosa had to go get police. She called me and she crying. All right. She spent that money. She thought it was free. This is Liberia. This is us. But we are pointing. The people in government, they didn't start being insincere. They didn't start being corrupt from being in government. They started in our community, and we knew them.
Right. Yes.
All right.
So I'm so happy that we're having this discussion today, because a lot of times, like, we want to blame the government is the people, So
yes, the government is the people. Alio Kamara wrote 15 million of budget. What's that? Please elaborate so we can know, because we're all having this conversation.
Off budget. Yeah.
Off budget. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yes, I think because of everything. But
go ahead.
I don't want to. No, I was just agreeing with what you said, that we could sit, and I think it's about time that we take responsibility
Mhm,
for the things that we Liberians we do.
mhm,
Okay, how do we expect to have a great private sector economy when we're taking loans, like you're saying, when with Rosa being here, when people take loans and you are not able to pay back? Okay, the loan came from somewhere. The way how loan works is when you pay back, you create the opportunity for somebody else to get loan,
to
and
get loan.
yes,
Yes.
to create the opportunity where the government does not have to pay your loan back and be put on
Mhm,
a high risk where they won't be able to get money to service some of the basic things in our country. You know,
mhm.
our responsibility, there's so many responsibilities we have as citizens, and I think we equally share the blame. How do we expect people to go to our country or give us money when we put today? I saw a videotape, and I don't know if you saw this videotape, where people actually were putting dirt in the drainage system, and they took a whole
God help me.
I'm telling you, so and they
It's
took
not funny, but it's funny.
a whole bag of garbage system, garbage, and put it in the drainage system. Okay, so how do we expect to have good, clean drinking water? What do we expect for our water system to go into the homes, into your businesses, clean drinking water going to your home? Lofa just said we should share the link with him. A home, into your home and into your businesses, when we put in our garbage into the drainage system. How do we expect that? Okay, uh, if we're gonna go out to go beg the international company for money or for grant or for them to come to invest in our country, then we have to be able to take the first steps in making sure that our country is good, clean, and working effectively. Because if the people see us that we're putting garbage in our drainage system, we're taking people out, people, we're putting it all over the place, why would they want to come? Why would want anybody want to come or be invited to our country? So this is what I was thinking about. If we're going to say we're going to go drive, another thing that we do, because the legislators decided that they were going to pass a law where they will be in their rights to do a third lane, to create a
To
third
do
lane.
a turning, yeah,
And,
without building road,
yes,
without building new road. No,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah. So how
yes.
do this is something that we Liberians are doing now. Not that the legislators, they are the government and we are the government. Okay.
Yeah.
But if we expect to drive in the third lane, okay, how do we expect then to not have traffic jam, not create a scenario where we have accidents? Okay.
A hostile environment or danger hazard in not just hostile but hazard environment
Mhm.
likely to cause lives,
Yeah.
damage to people. Okay.
Mhm.
Yes. So
Yeah. So definitely. So how do we as people, when I've been to you and myself went to, remember we were going to what you described as Sierra Leone. The people got all the market.
yeah.
The market is selling it all on the
On the
road.
road. Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
How do we expect, okay, for us not to have traffic jam? Because you have put your market all over on the road, so the road become very narrow for us to pass through. What kind of investor can I take to my country and say, please come when it's going to take me 2 hours, something that a 30 minutes drive to get from downtown Monrovia to Broadville? Who would not want to cost me more money or won't be a high risk investor?
High
Okay,
risk. Mhm.
yes, the investor who's interested in increasing my interest rate, increasing our government interest rate, because they're not going to be able to work efficiently as they might work in other countries. So
Mhm.
then how would you put the food all on the ground and you expect not to get sick, and you expect not to be not to have the food infested with dirt or pollution from the car? So we as Liberians, these are the things that we are doing that makes it very difficult. Okay, makes it very difficult for our government to function, and for us to say we want investors to come to the country. So we want to dead the country. We want to create third lane. We want to create traffic jam. Then we go to the UN and say, we want you to please get our money. We want you
So
to
we
please.
can clean. The last time Jefferson Koji wanted money to each again, he can clean Morovia.
Yeah. So how you and then we have these climate change in our country when we're building in the alleyway, we're clocking up our we're clocking up our drainage system. Then we'll go to the international community and say, you please give our money so we can fight climate change. We can fight the disappearance of our ocean. So go ahead, Lucinda. I saw you making that.
No. You're good. You're good.
I have to be right back. When my daughter's calling me here, you know how it is.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Here it is though, and that we're talking about our action and inactions as citizens before we go to the government, because we are the government. Here's Lofa. We are the government. Our actions and inactions. How you get there? Okay. So hold on, here we are.
How did I get there?
How did you get? I didn't even click on you, and you're already here.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Don't be using your technology on me, on my technology. Don't. Yes. So, Lofa, we're talking about our actions as Liberian and our inaction, because we have to talk about how small businesses are the driver or any economy or creating middle class, right? But before we get to that part, we are talking about us as the citizens. For instance, we're going back to when the war make money available during the recovery period or the reconstruction period, which would be the last UP-led government before we are. $10 million was set aside, okay, to impact petty market. We require small business, whatever, SME, all right? 9 million of that money disappeared. Okay, people could not give account of it. Some people who were in the government send the offended people. They themselves created companies, studio company where they were collecting the money and they could not find. Okay, the Arkansas, and you hear most of the people that were just appointed. Some of them, I think, even Gaffman owed the government and have not paid it. Okay. But the very people and what the other one Nimale, I think they say $80,000. All right. So you owe the money. Then we turn around, we give you a job to manage the very people that you've taken from. So we are asking, what is our action that is impacting as Liberian, impacting Liberia, that keeping Liberia static besides government official? Because we ourselves, we are playing major role, because we see the people we elect, that the people who look like us. So they're not any different for a weekend year, because we are not enjoying at the time.
Yeah.
So we're listening to you. Oh, well, great to be on, Sister Cindy and Dr. Francine. Yes. Great to contribute to the conversation. Sorry, I had to jump off my football game, so I look a little bit rough. I didn't put my makeup on, so
that's okay. We got our makeup on for you. And we both have red hair, red shoes. We're ready.
I put my
That's good. That's what Abraham's doing right now. He's watching Steelers and
say too.
Yeah. So, but I was trying to do the multitask, but then when you guys say it's okay to come on, I thought to jump on. I can always follow the football game later because we can do a replay, but I can never repeat what the people back home are going through. In all honesty, the life you live today may not be repeated, because every second of your day you cannot get back. And that's why a lot of time that we unfortunately we refuse to accept the reality of life, that look, the decisions that we make today is something we will have to live for, whether it is in your personal life or in national, in the national life or whatever, involvement. You have to live with it. But this is the part that really struck my attention, and I said I need to contribute to this conversation. I think a lot of time we tend to only look at government, and you both said it well, that corruption doesn't start in government. It starts with us. It starts from our homes, our communities, and then we take it to the national government.
Yes.
And this is where we often fall short. Okay. Why am I thinking that we are in the habit of aiding and abetting with the issue of corruption? Is because, like Dr. Francine Redford said, she said, we tend to support people who are, within our cliques, people who we associate with when they're doing certain things. And an example would be, if I was a friend with someone who is in government and that person stole, there is no reason. I should find every reason to defend that person behavior, even though there are thousands of Liberians who are either just being impacted by their behavior. Vast majority of our decisions when it comes to good governance, diaspora Liberians proffer good suggestions. But then when it comes to implementing those good suggestions, if you look at the percentage of those who are contributing in a much more honest manner, it's very limited. Does that mean that diaspora Liberians are contributing in a much more detrimental impact to the society? I would say yes. Let's take, for example, all right?
Oh, yes, we are.
Let's look at what is happening today in Liberia. There's a young man in Liberia, Fasel, who was actually, he's a convict.
The one I was telling you, duping people with
one that was duping people.
Thank you. And make millions.
He was duping people of the gold. I think gold. He told people he was working for the government and he was doing all of these things. He duped other people, other nationalities.
Out of millions.
Went to Liberia.
Out of millions. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Stanton with a spoon. Stanton with a spoon. Kim, put the lives of innocent people at risk. Today, Stanton is seen as a savior in Liberia. You look at Fanatic Kofa. Fanatic Kofa, again, a convict. We elected him to one of the highest level in our in our governing body. He's a speaker today. He comes and we are celebrating his work. At what point do we stand to say, look, people must be held accountable? Why it is true that other nations, and I listen to Dr. Francine said, other countries have done their part in implementing the law. But guess what? Unfortunately, why it is true that the law exists in Liberia, it is upon us as citizens, if we sincerely believe in accountability and transparency, for us to start to hold these individuals accountable and say to them, no, I am in support of the second chance, but I would not stand here and allow you to behave as though you possess that moral right to critique other people when, of course, you are just as much detrimental to the society based on past action on your part. That is my position, and this is where we fall short. We don't want to do it because I'm friends with Dr. Francine or I'm friends with Yesendi. Hey, if Yesendi is found short of something, then I want to defend Yesendi. It's like, oh no, I know, says Yesendi, she's not like this, she's not like that. But we would never move Liberia forward if we are not courageous enough to hold ourselves accountable. And I think this is where we fall short very often, and that is my part. If we are not sincere enough to ourselves to hold our colleagues, to hold our friends accountable and say, look, you don't possess that moral right to even stand up here and hold other people accountable. That's to speak of government official, because corruption starts from the home to the community and then to the national level. I don't think we can hold these government officials accountable, because if you look in our governance structure, vast majority of those who are serving today are involved in corruption. Almost maybe 50 or 80% of those who are contributing to governance are involved in corruption.
Yeah. Lofa Julius, thank you so much.
Yes.
This is such a wonderful conversation. And, it almost feels like we need to talk about this more. I had a previous appointment when I talked to you, Cindy, earlier that I have to
Yeah,
leave
I know.
at 7
Yeah.
because I have another meeting. But I wish we could expand this conversation and carry it on. But
Right.
I have to tell you, Lofa, and
Mhm.
a lot of things that maybe we have not had the opportunity to discuss, or maybe on my part, I have not shared this. I don't see the world in black and white as you stated. Like you see the world in black and white. Like, oh, this person is not talking because you have not heard them say it. This person is holding up their rogue, on a pedestal when there's other rogues that they are condemning. Maybe because you have not heard that person condemn their rogue. Maybe there's a manner of which they're choosing to converse with their
To
rogue.
converse with that person, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's the manner in which you know uh, they're interacting with their rogue. Maybe there's other things that are related to this person, because I know when you made that comment, and even though you're talking in general, I feel my association to Stanton Witherspoon, because I'm the only person on this platform who sits on this platform all the time, that you brought up, like as if that Liberians hold Stanton in good regards, regardless of what I say or not, or what anyone
Right.
says. Okay.
Right.
So Stanton Witherspoon has a legal problem in the United States, as you well know. And as you rightfully said, and I rightfully said, he's going through the legal processes. We don't know. You don't know. I don't know. Although I
Right.
see some things,
Right.
how he's bearing these consequences. We
Right.
live in one of the greatest country in the world, where if you make a mistake, or if you have to pay for your consequences, you will pay, right? Okay.
Right.
Maybe you don't see it. Maybe Steno don't show it on his face. Maybe I don't come to talk about it. Okay. But that doesn't mean that if I'm protecting any rules in the country, or anyone who has done something illegally or illegally in Liberia, that doesn't mean that, because I'm choosing to deal with it a different way, because you see it chooses to deal with it a different way. We don't see things in black and white. You don't know what he's going through. I don't know what he's going through. I don't know. I heard about Fanatis Kofa's case. Okay. I don't know what Fanatic Kofa went through, to be in Liberia. Okay. I don't know how long he's going to last to be speaker. But if we stop talking, if we stop telling the Liberian people and educating them, are we being fair to the Liberian people? So those are things that I think about. I don't see things in black and white. If I, a lot of people, Lufa said, "Oh, you should have disowned Stanton." I wasn't thinking in black and white like people think about Stanton Witherspoon. Okay,
Right.
The network in Liberia. I was thinking about the mouths that they feed in Liberia. That's what I was thinking about, because I'm in close contact with the people.
So Doug, may I come in?
Yes, please come in.
Because a lot of people don't know this. I'm in the back.
Yes.
And I don't want this to be about
right. I was just going to say that. I don't want this because I mentioned a few names too.
Here, okay?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's a pattern here that we need to speak to. I talked to Doug from the onset. In fact,
yes,
from the onset, how this woman and her family was dragged. Her children were involved. Her grandbaby were involved. Her school, which is her job, was involved. So I've been in the back, so I know to some degree. I don't know everything that is happening, but we follow the story. Okay. I think what we should, like the doc said, which I agree, we have a responsibility now that all of our closer, maybe we need to have a platform that reach out to more people and educate our people, because people only know where they know. All right. If I'm drowning, we went. That remember when we went to 72nd, there was a young boy named Theo. Theo was telling the people when we were running the campaign and say, y'all keep saying this and that. If your child was drowning in the ocean and you took your child out and the child can't breathe, and somebody show up and say, I can give your child breath, you will tell them that child is a stranger or the child is a rogue. You want your child to live at that time. And when that person saved that child, nothing else you say will matter to that child until you bring them to a logical understanding. We say, this is the person that saved me, or this is the person that got me here. This is where we stand. Okay. Number one, we are here. I think there were a lot of people, young people that were working for Spoon. that there's a place for them to eat. Me as a mother, if somebody say, yeah, look for too frisky, look for all over on the other platform, I know you. Okay? Look, I don't know how to talk to elders. He have no sense of Liberian culture. All right. I would say that's the Lofa you see, but Lofa is more than that. Okay, because my relationship with you, that's what I say, relate is different. Okay, if something happens to you, the way I will see, even if I'm being strong, like I've done with my own son, right? But I still say that's my child. Let the Lord take his course. I have a lot of conversation with Dr. Richardson. Sometimes we wake up in the morning, 6 o'clock, and talk till 9 o'clock. Sometimes we'll be talking until somebody's phone go off. This is conversation. A lot of people don't know that we have in the back. I know people will come to me and say, yeah, because Dr. Richardson, like your sister, she don't do no wrong. Okay.
I said, I do wrong. We do argue and fight.
And sometimes we say, so what we're going to do? Then we hold up and we talk again. St. John is the nation is dealing with St. John. I know a lot of people want to see him gone. A lot of people want to see him out. A lot of people think he's a savior. So this mirror has 3 faces, right? But there's a pattern here. I think that's what you're speaking to. We'll commit problems. We go to Liberia because look, we have to remember our people do not know. Listen. Just hold on 1 second. Listen to a country where a grown man shows up with a back of rice to another man's house for a teenager. You got a teenager. Where you sitting? You see somebody like my husband will show up to your house with back of rice and you let them, you'll go get your shotgun. So this is where information dissemination, I think we started the conversation this way. The pattern of Liberian behavior. That's why we choose today to speak to these things. And we are glad you are here. That's why we want to speak to. Yes.
Yeah. And look, before you come in, I'm sorry. I know you're going to come.
No, that's okay. That's
limited time. You know, I want to assure you, Lofa, and you Cindy as well. I know you Cindy much better than I do. I've worked very, very hard for everything that I own. Okay, and I actually have inspired, and I talk to my children and anyone around me to work very hard for everything that you own. Okay, sometimes Lofa, even to run the red light, I scare. I can be shaking. Okay, and in fact, my children sometimes the children, you know, they're young these days, you know, so they like to take risks. Okay,
but that one day I just like me, and I love her too. She don't care.
Exactly. Okay. What I'm trying to tell you is, I speak because I know I can fall from grace and get up.
Right.
All right. If I criticize, I will criticize Stanton. What is what I will criticize the Cassette man you're talking about? I will criticize the Fanati as long as I know the facts. Okay. But I also know that there is a salvation for people as well. I don't see things in black and white. A lot of you, I know you are a computer savvy person. You know, you don't know the background story. That's why if you hear me speak, I say, if the evidence, let me speak to the facts of things. I don't like hearsay because hearsay, especially in our culture, can lead to gossip. Okay. All right. So and I don't mind being corrected. If you hear me and I'm not speaking or saying something to somebody, that means that I don't know all the information on this person. I would be quiet until I found out the fact. So I want to just tell you that.
Okay. So and this is why I agreed to come on here. Like I said, I was watching my football game, but I thought I would use this opportunity to be educated or hopefully educate others on here. Even if I possess that or whatever that little token to educate anybody. But here's my thing, right? At what point do we start to hold ourselves accountable in a society where the system is not in existence? You and I
were. That's what we are doing today. That's what we came to talk about.
No. What we are doing today is we are bringing to the forefront, you know, information that is needed to keep our people abreast of the current events. But unfortunately, the law that is in existence that is supposed to hold people accountable is not being applied adequately.
But the
I can
judiciary
use several,
is non-existent. The country is a failed state.
and that's
And
what
that's
I
what
said
we're talking
earlier. That's
about.
what I
Yeah.
said earlier, that it's
Mhm.
not in existence. So
Right.
if we are in the habit of creating this soft spot for certain individual, then people are, in my mind, I'm thinking that those who are coming after us, because I see myself in this generation, and I'm looking at those who are coming after us as the generation to replace those of us who are supposed to be transforming Liberia. If we are creating soft spots for people who may have been people who have contributed to to behaviors that we personally would not tolerate, how would they see us? How would these people really consider us? Because it appears to them that, look, it's okay to do these things once there isn't much evidence to what is being stated. In the case of most of our corrupt politicians in Liberia, I'm sorry, I know Dr. Francine mentioned it, not you, but Yesenia mentioned that Lofa don't know how to talk. When I reference
No,
these
I didn't
people
say
as
though. I said
politicians,
no, Lofa. The people will call me and say you don't understand Liberian culture the way you talk because they believe you and I close. The same way they talk about me and Dr. Richardson. I was just giving you common example.
yeah, and I understand, what you're
And I
saying,
say
though.
in America we teach our children to be upfront to speak the truth.
And
It
I
does not
agree,
matter your age; they have to speak the truth. Yes.
I may not understand the political culture. I may not understand the culture extensively,
But you
but that's part of the
understand
reason.
ethics and you
Thank
understand
you.
ethics and integrity.
And
What it
integrity.
means to be.
That's
Yeah.
part of the reason why I have done everything in my weak way to get myself involved and get my kids to be a part of the process, so
Right.
that I'm not a saint. I will make mistakes here and there, but am I willing to learn from my mistakes? Am I willing to hopefully apply those recommendations? If Dr. Francine is to say to me, look up, when you're addressing a broader audience, your tone of voice, you should make sure that you can keep it at a moderate pace so that those you're engaging don't feel like you're yelling at them. That is her area of expertise. That means she sat back and she has evaluated my deliberation and like, yeah, dude, you yell too much on the microphone. Calm down. So I should learn from it. And that's what I'm saying here tonight. I'm saying it appears as though we are not applying the force that is needed to make sure that those individuals who may have been corporate to whatever crime in the United States or in Liberia are reprimanded. We appear to be much more sympathetic.
So that will leave in 5 minutes. So I want to give us some time. But this conversation, listen, this conversation needs to be had. Okay. We export, and not only do we expose people because there's a pattern of behavior. We messed up here, and then whatever we messed up with, we go home and we play God, and our people see us. I get that. We saw Dr. and may his soul rest in peace, Dr. Kasser, who succumbed to stress, and may his soul rest in peace again. We saw the other Kasser guy from back home.
Talk about me too. Lo-fi, you see the gray in my head. Yeah. 6 years.
Who duped a lot of people out of money, millions of dollars. Now he's buying the whole of Marshall and building it, and now he's bad. He's creating his own following, going on. I'm watching that. You got people at Midikimu who ran away from deportation here from insurance fraud, and they're big in government. He carried the money, carried for Joelle Howard Taylor, that how she was able to run after her husband left. All right. For me, I've been around, a lot of people don't know. I've been around the political system so long. So I know a lot of people, I have a lot of information, but these are all co-documented. Like that say, and I am particularly watching, okay? What good about this country is people were paid if you're cut. That is if you're cut. When you're cut, you will pay for your deeds. That's one thing. We don't have to do it for them. But what we need to do is educate our people. All right. I also believe in second chance. Okay. Me as a refugee in America, I'm a second chance person. I mean, I didn't commit no crime. My only crime was my tribe. And I was a kid when walking. That was my only crime. All right. But we also have to look at something called the greater goods. All right. And I think the conversation and what Dr. said that we've had in the back, what she said to me, yeah, there are about 20, 30 kids that depend on this station to eat. There are women who depend on the station to carry their children to school. If I let it fall, my children will be fine. My husband will be fine. I will be fine. But I'm not supposed, I'm just saying. So sometimes, when she said not black and white, sometimes that's what we see. But sometimes there's a silver lining. All right. I always told people, if I'm the captain of a ship and the ship have 500 people and the ship is overloaded and I need to put 10 people down to save the other 400, okay, and 97, I will throw them in the sea because I will be saving the greater group. All right. So sometimes that's where we're stalled. But here, what I'm going to say, we still have the responsibility to come to the front and make sure we educate our people. Let the decision be theirs. Wrong is wrong and right is right.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
And I know I have to go in maybe about 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll be fast and I'll probably want to use up my 6 minutes Lofa. So I think Yusini is right. And, through maturity and education, I've learned not to see a lot of things in black and white. I learned that I can control what I can control. Okay. I can't control, no matter how much I talk, what the Liberian people are going to do, how they're going to take liking to and not take liking to. But that what I can control is coming here with Yusini 6 o'clock every day, or perhaps going on your show and going on Talk and speaking my truth, my narrative. Okay. That is the beginning of the process. I know that I can control that. Okay. Now, another thing is I don't know all of the stories to people. What people don't know, I think people can, we Liberians, what we like to do, just because you see me every day on a platform, that doesn't mean that I know everything about everybody on the platform. You would be surprised that once I'm on, I'm on. Once I'm done, I got other things to do. Okay. And what I do know that, people, this is the greatest, it's when we came, it used to be the greatest country. I don't know where it sits right now.
It's still the greatest country in the world.
Well, let's wait till after the election. We make that determination.
That's why I'm scratching my head a little bit. And
America is sending to Liberia,
Yes, and everything that I've heard. But it holds people accountable. All right. It holds people. So I don't want to worry so much about how it's going to hold. What I want to worry about, I want my country to be just like the United States.
Right.
I want to
I'm going to go visit Sierra Leone.
Yes, I want to meet. So that's why I come
here. Richardson house is in Sierra Leone. Y'all don't mind how she built house in the border between Liberia and Sierra Leone. That's you.
So, and I know, yes, to make it in the United States, we have gone to grace and we have fallen from grace, because that's how sometimes you have to make it in the United States. We know there are just system in the United States, there are unjust system in the United States. Sometimes you just have to, like where we stand right now with this whole election business, so I'll ask my husband, we often want 45% of the people can vote for somebody who don't want refugees. According to the poll.
And some of them, the parents, let me
10% or 0 or 5%.
Sorry, I beg you, I know you gotta go. Some of them, their parents came here as refugees and sent for them, and they got green card. And
that's
they're telling somebody who don't want refugees, somebody who don't want women to have their voices, and they're father of girls, and they have wives, they have sisters. Yes, I think I get what you say.
Dr. Prince, if I will ask a quick question, hopefully you can kind of throw this in your closing, right?
To conclude, Lofa, as and then I will stay for a second and just to.
Okay.
I don't have friends in Liberia. I see it as it is.
So me and you both in the same boat.
I know I can go to the farm and play sour and thick sour and plain it with all of the letters behind my name. I can do that. Okay? Because I know I can work hard wherever I am to make a living. I don't have to depend on a man to support me or a woman to support me. I don't have to depend on money and riches and diamond or my
Mr.
parents.
Richardson, listening to you,
Yeah,
you woman.
he knows that. He knows that for a fact. He fight when you come. I don't have to depend on inheritance. I know how to make living. Okay, and I think I'm a testimony to that. If you see how far I've came and learned in this country, came with nothing and learned. Okay, so I will stop here and let me hear your question.
So my question is very short. Based on your understanding of the Western world, okay, the fact that you see how the system works, and taking into consideration Liberia, where there isn't one, or there is a structure in place, but is it functional? I don't know if I can speak to that. The issue of corruption, how can we start to address it from within ourselves and then going up to the national level where we are addressing corrupt politicians when it comes to the issue of corruption daily? How do we start it? Because I'm looking at it from the point where if my brother is involved in corruption, I should call them out. But based on your expertise, you could be looking at it from a different dynamic. So you're like, okay, no, you don't address it that way because you could probably cause more problem. So I will leave it as vague as it was stated to hopefully get your insight as to how can we address the issue of corruption in Liberia and tighten the system so that all of us benefits without having to feel like we need to protect our heroes who are honestly thieves.
So briefly, Lofa, beautiful question, and I will quickly answer because again, this is what we do on Sunday. I'm going to a meeting, Pontown School meeting, because I support people in Pontown School. But anyway, to support, I don't think you shouldn't call out your brother publicly.
Okay.
You should do that if that's your choice. Okay. However, do you disown your brother? That's the question that I want you to ponder. Or do you say, I've called you out publicly, so that means I'm going to disassociate myself from you when there's other things there's a sequela to other things that are involved. So you have to study the issue. Let's study the issue, okay?
Okay.
I don't attack Fanatic Kofa. Let me just bring this in there because Fanatic Kofa perhaps been into the United States and he has this problem. I don't know. I know what his court situation. He spent some time in jail. I attack Fanatic Kofa because he's the leader of the house and we have not audited the house. If you hear me talk, okay. And we have to start with ourselves. From Lufa, we have to say, like we were talking today, how I said we want investors to come to our country when all the market people put all the market on the road.
Trash on the road.
When the trash on the road, we can't drive by. But then we talk about climate change. We go big for climate change money to other countries. And when I bring investors, they put my country in a high risk category because it takes them 2 or 3 hours to drive from downtown Monrovia to Broadville. Okay, so we have to start educating what you do on your show. I see you pay somebody, you go and you carry stories live. Okay, sometimes late at night I watch. I think it's Across Africa.
Across Africa, yeah.
Yes. Okay, we have to continue to do that. We can't say, look, you myself, you see it. We got no dealings in Liberia. We could stay in this country. You know, in a couple of years, I'll be getting my social security. It's pretty hefty.
And we'll just be rocking. That will be beyond. We'll be beyond. I come and face the whole backyard. I can't rock to your side. You can't rock to my side. We'll go hang out in the Bahamas. Like,
my 401k, you know, I've been working since I was 13, 14 in this country. It's pretty hefty. What business you think I got talking Liberia business? Huh? What business besides love of country? Besides, it's the place where I still have relatives. That's the place of my ancestors. And because I know this country very well, when I came to this country, yeah, you can attest to that. And you probably saw, I didn't live with Black people. I lived with white people and I saw the system with my own eyes. I know very well. All right. And
The
I
black kids in her class
yes,
in Buffalo, New York,
correct.
upstate New York. Yeah.
Yes, in the entire town. Where I teach right now, I walk in the class as one of the only black instructor, or half of the time I'm there, and get people question my credibility day in and day out. Okay, for 18 years I've been doing this. So what business I got going to Liberia now? Tell me. Besides all these things I have shared with you, so these are the things that we have to ponder, and we don't see things in black and white. Come back to conclude, because my husband's probably waiting for us to go to our next meeting, because he's part of both of that. It's like, to conclude, people carry their own Kenya. I'm not here to put people Kenya on my head. I don't put Kenya or whatever they can call it. You will carry Kenya for you. Yeah, carry for you. You're talking about you all the time. That is okay. So I see that I gotta go out.
All right, Dr. Christian.
So far, you and me for another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's go. Bye,
All
guys.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stay here for another 10 minutes.
Yes, good. Stay with me for another 10 minutes. Then I'm gonna go deliver a table. Say bye to my brother. I know he suck up into the Steeler game. He all decked up in his uniform. Yes.
Somebody sent me a message, right? And in the message is saying, "Oh, let me read exactly what was said." That's funny. Anyway, I'm not gonna do that. But here's my thing, right? I don't know how people see things. People see things in a different way. I guess we have grown into the mindset that once disagreement with another person should result to profanity to show how much you are strong.
So somebody calling you now?
I think if I pay attention to that, if I pay attention to that though, I will be giving it much more relevant.
Don't do it,
but here's what I think about the way I view disagreement, and I say this all the time. I am not here to create animosity with anybody in the Liberian community, but I am here to erect the needed checkpoints, and I hope that people will do the same thing to me. Okay, if I warned you during the election, the past election, do not support this person. I don't see nothing in them, and I gave you references as to why this person will probably fall flat on their face, and you purposely decided to support that person. I am at liberty to remind you consistently of what I told you.
I see. And then they're attacking 1%.
Okay. Yeah. I am at liberty to remind you consistently, because you know what? At this point, I know exactly why you are doing it. It appears to me that you weren't, especially for a person who may have lived in the Western world, you weren't doing it because you really wanted change for Liberia.
No, you didn't. You were doing it for stuff.
Thank you. The short-term gain. And that's the reason, and that's why I go back and forth with the Funny Guys brother, and I even make reference to the fact that I said, you guys insulted permanent citizens or people of the
community. Call me the B word.
Okay. I said you guys insulted people.
That was Kiatama who came and said, in fact, Kiatama reached out to him and said, "Yeah, it's our sister. Why would you call her name? Call me and Dr. Richardson crooks, liars." Okay. Yep.
You can't, and again, you cannot make when we make decision in our lives, we must consider those in either our circle or those we live with. And I think when I think of religion, I think I spoke about it a couple of days ago on SKTV. I said people see religion as a preparation for how to live in heaven when you're no longer on earth. But that is not the reality.
Right.
Okay.
And when you're on earth, where you're residing, are you supposed to make the difference? You don't.
Thank you. The good Bible, or the books that are written, the Quran and the Bible, teaches men how to coexist. And that's why if you're to read the Bible, it says, love your neighbors as you love yourself. Okay. They're telling you how to maintain the world as a peaceful place, how you can love. Yes. So if you're making decision in your own selfish interest, because you feel like if John is to win an election, I have a better chance
Yes.
of obtaining some kind of business.
Look at this is not theory. The verbalize it.
Thank you.
Remember when Dualu were on and SKTV and say, let me just go with the papier, you know, and the papier will not end this. How you call it? And Commis is going to do the heavy lifting. And
thank you. I'm glad you brought Dualu in it. Yeah.
He said Commis will do the heavy lifting. I was out at the and people were calling, he was talking, but the papier called Commis and Commis refused, which was a lie. And I called him and I educated them on that platform. I have to look for that tip and play it. Oh. And then he got off the phone and he said, that's the problem with ANC. There are too many educated people, especially the women. We didn't eat our school fees.
So what that tells you,
our time in vain.
So Sister Cindy, what that tells you is the fact that people are honestly not about the true transformation. No, because if you're about the transformation, you would not put your eyes on a specific position and make it a target and say this is the bullseye. Liberia's transformation is not dependent on an individual. Right. It is systematic. Right. If we were sincerely about change in Liberia, we would not have identified an individual, George Weah, as the problem. Because historically, Liberia corruption started with Madame Salib, probably Samuel Doe, and before Samuel Doe, there were corruption. So if you are to target...
Look, I agree, but they said, we killed the 13 men on the poor, we killed Tober, because of rampant corruption, nepotism, failure to respond to the masses' need in a timely manner. That was the three major reasons that they were killed. Then Doe came in. Doe government was doing the Cold War. According to the CIA fact book, since 1847 or 1822, Doe government, they were the one that the America spent the most money on. But where did that money go?
And this is my point exactly. If we are to set our eyes on an individual as compared to the systemic recalibration, then we will fall flat on our faces every time, because we will select an individual and that individual will bring his colleagues and they will continue to just milk the system. But we must focus on the recalibration. And that's the reason why I was very excited to say I remain neutral in this election, because the Joseph Boakai, George Weah, they both are 6 and 7 or 5 and 6. Because if you are to look at the most current events in Liberia, let's compare George Weah's term to that of Joseph Boakai. They probably may have just 1% in governance. The difference in the differences in governance is probably 1%. What level of rescue have you experienced? What level of fixing have you sensed? Those are the kind of things that we need to look. Everybody wants to win or be a part of the winning team, but is that all that really matters? This is not a soccer game. This is not sports. It's not all about winning, but it's about the transformation of a nation that we can leave behind for the next people to come on. Go ahead, Sister Sandy.
So Lofa, thank you. And we're going to be closing soon. And I'm right there with you. And that's why we had this conversation today, because normally the government didn't do this, the government didn't do that. So the change have to start with each of us. We got to see beyond our individual need and our individual connections. How do we build a system that impact the greater goods of the country, the larger community? How do we do that? And Doc introduced, it starts with us as holding ourselves accountable first and foremost. Crafting a path to what is the vision for Liberia? What do we want? If we want to create, and I always told Liberian people, we Liberian in the diaspora are the middle class that Liberia never created. Liberia already has a middle class. Liberia may be brain, and I don't believe Liberia is brain drain in Liberia. I just think because look at the amount of kids that they graduated. I mean, like every month there's a graduation going on. It's not even uniform. Okay. Every month, right now, the kids bouncing out of college just last week. In the next 2 weeks, again, there will be another group of them. Thousands of them coming out. There are no jobs being created. No kids are going to go to the marketplaces where the mothers and fathers have been selling to help out. The diploma will be on the wall. Okay. Most of them have not gotten internship or jobs offer. 90% of them will not get a job. Okay. The other maybe 5% will be begging for government jobs. Some of them will have to compromise themselves to just have a job that pays little. You know, I was listening to a Liberian doctor yesterday who was telling us there are only about 200 plus doctors in Liberia, right? Do you not get more doctors when the medical fee you paying $1,000, but you're paying a bonehead college dropout or high school dropout $7,000, $26,000 to do nothing? They're not bringing any change. There is no performance monitor or measurement, no performance report. They're just there. All right. People commit crimes or corruption. They give them an opportunity to resign and pay them off to resign so they'll shut up and move on. That's not how you send a message. That's not how you change the world. That's not how you change your society. Now, we also talk about investing in small businesses. All right. And we talk about the $10 million put aside during the reconstruction era of the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, where Mill Jones still owed about $5 million. Okay. $9 million went missing. Everybody that were there came out millionaires. The very people are coming back to government. You have like my own brother, Gafuan, still owe tens of thousands of dollars. We stay appointed in at the head of the finance in the country. All right. So here we are, and I get what you're saying. These are people who are stealing, and we can't, when they do the audit report, one government come, they take it down, they keep it for them so they can hold it over the next person here, so it can be a negotiating tool, okay, to swap. All right, or they take down the website. The next time it comes up, the audit report has gone. It's like somebody like John Malou, who was very critical in the last government and said the UP-led government was the worst Liberia have ever had. He would never support them. Okay,
I call him John Blue Moon, because when you drink Blue Moon, you get drunk, and when you're out of the Blue Moon, you can speak and be eloquent in your thoughts. But once you're drunk, you're John Blue Moon. I don't, City. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful on your platform, but to be honest with you, I have no respect for people who see the truth and disregard the truth because of their selfish interest. John Blue Moon is one of them. John Blue Moon is no different from any of the corrupt politicians in Liberia. John Blue Moon is no different from Joseph Boakai. That's who they are. They are not about true transformation. I swear to you, Sister Cindy, if these people were about true transformation, not a single one of them would have looked in the direction of President Boakai. Based on what you see today, these are selfish and greedy people. They are a bunch of tribalists. And that's the reason why the other time when you were out having a conversation, I said, no wonder why he calls. I'm not going to go there, but I'm seriously, it upsets me to see that people who should be considered educated people will purposely plunge an entire nation in chaos because of their selfish interest. Do not give me the opportunity to work in government in Liberia. I want not, okay, any proximity to any government official. Treat my people right, and I will celebrate you wherever, whenever.
And I'm right there with you.
Give them what is desired, and I will celebrate you regardless of what others think about you. Once you're doing the right thing, I will defend you. I don't care how people throw stones at me. But if you are to look around today, these individuals are simply paying these stooges to run around and defend them on the social media because they know they cannot represent what they claim to stand for. How dare do I stand up here and want to applaud John Blue Moon for claiming to be a man of integrity, a man
Yeah.
who transparency. When you of all people, John Blue Moon, you understand what comes with serving in the financial industry, the financial sector. You willingly sat on a platform with Stanton Witherspoon after you knew what he did. But John Blue Moon wants to tell her that he's a man of integrity. To solicit, not only did he sit there, but he solicited funds to contribute.
Look how we have a call.
Let's take that caller.
Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
Well, thank you so much. This is Siliki. I'm calling from Rwanda, Kigali. This is an interesting conversation.
It is.
You guys are having tonight. So I just want to chime in, and I hope I can be given at least like 5 minutes like that. I really appreciate that.
Take your 5 minutes. Go ahead. Look, I will wait.
Yeah, you know, my brother Lofa, thank you for all you doing. Thank you so much. Of course, we can't give up. But look, I listened to the conversation. There is some saying, and Dr. Richie saying, that has to do with corruption outside of government. You know, today in Africa, people say, "Oh, Rwanda is doing great." Paul Kagame and stuff like that. But what I will tell you is this. About 45% of what has been Paul Kagame has been able to achieve in Rwanda is because of the willingness of the citizens, the good, the support, the commitment they have put into place in order to support his vision. That is what Rwanda has been able to achieve, the kind of progress they are making today. For example, just a typical example, in Liberia, people don't pay electricity bill, but they want electricity. They want 24-hour current, but they don't pay bill. You see?
But and not everybody, mostly the government official, we pay for them. Remember, Buffer Chamber were owing all our electric bill, although the government were paying for it, you were putting the money in your pocket.
Exactly.
Okay.
They don't pay electricity bill, but the people they say they want electricity. You see, Rwanda, the employment rate is very low, but the people are committed. They pay the electricity. It's affordable. They pay even the common man who say it's poor, but that man is paying electricity bill. There is no need you can see. If you on a motorcycle here in Rwanda, if a motorcycle may accident with you, that man will take you to the hospital with insurance. Every motorcycle that on the track here, they get insurance. But if you say that in Liberia, they may not say they want protest. Because they think...
But then also, Siliki, you got to understand, though, the insurance company in Liberia, they don't want to pay. They want to take your money, they don't want to pay. I know that.
Yeah, like I said from the beginning, Ma, it has to do with leadership and commitment people. So it's a two-way street. Like you guys were saying, you suggested, you said, I listened to you guys, you said, the corruption in Liberia can't just start from the government. It starts from the people.
Yeah.
Like just the people aspect I'm trying to outline here. Most of the motorcycles in Liberia, they don't have insurance. The yellow guys, they have insurance. A motorcycle guy will sit down behind Liberia when that guy may accident with you. You yourself will have to take yourself to the clinic to treat yourself. But if the man may accident with you, the man say, I get 1 year insurance, I will take you to the hospital. All my insurance, you have to pay a time. So these are different things that, seriously, but Liberia is different. That country, and when you try to talk about these things, everybody know that what my brother Lofa was saying. Maybe I'm not knowledgeable about the culture of the politics. What sound politics? What sound culture?
But Siliki, what do I say? The people say I don't know the culture, I don't know the politics. What do I say, boss man?
What's the better culture? What's the better culture? That's a question we should be asking. What's the better culture they're talking about?
A culture of backwardness and handout and insincerity.
We don't even have running water. Come on, like running water, we don't have it. We don't have electricity. They say Culture of what? But whatsoever the Liberian people are going through today, for me, I think the people have not still learned. They have not, because as it stands right now, you do a poll right now. These same people are projecting George Weah to be.
I see somebody trying to cost me honor George Weah because somebody posted George Weah dancing. I say, has she made a new song yet? They can't cost me. But I'm coming right for them. I got time today on my hand. I'm coming for them. Coming for Jay, the man, the pie, everybody.
I just wanted to chime in. We get a long way to go. Everything they want to make out of politics in our country. People who don't even know A from Z, they say they want government job because they support Bouaka. But you say you want government job because you support Bouaka.
But a government job now.
What are the services you think you can provide that you should get you job? They can tell you that we just want job.
Thank you, Sneaky. I'm gonna close. Then Lofa will close. Then we're gonna go. Let me start this with this. I live in Georgia, and I like to use Georgia. Georgia was the only state that was founded not for slaves, okay, but to relieve England of its population, its struggling population. They call it the wealthy but poor population. But when they created the charter and they found it here, they got a college up the street, they call it Augusta University. You'll go look at it. The first 114 people that were sent here, all of them were people who were specialized because they wanted to create a successful state. They didn't just grab people because they all helped and added their voices. They sent in carpenter, farmers, stone cutters, people who could sew, tailor, and all of the people that had the expertise and experience to come ahead. When they came and established the colony and it was progressing, they started transplanting people who were suffering. If you take the least among us who know the least and get them the job, they will only close the door. When you get your experts who are not insecure, know they can work anywhere, they have proven record, they work in private sector, they work in other places, they have expertise, they know what they're doing, they can only widen the tent, okay? And then the other people can fit in. So the point I'm making is we have people to hold accountable. We have a lot of educating to do, Lofa. For me, I'm not disappointed because I remember you, myself, and many other people when we started 8 years ago. When we were speaking to Liberian people, they would tell us, you don't criticize your elders. You don't say this. Today, we hear them say that our money. We hear them say they're working for us. Today, we hear we don't want to elect them. We're on election again. That's the beginning. So, Lofa, I'm going to leave this with you. But we have to start holding ourselves accountable. All the that you call, you're correct. We have to call them down. Every show that we do, we have to talk about them. They cannot be model citizens of our society. They just can't be.
Thank you. Sister Cindy, I will say this, and I don't care how I appear. My mom said to me, you don't give things up easily. Okay. My dad said, you don't represent Lofa County.
No, you don't. You represent Liberia.
The Lofians are not the way you go about things. And I said to myself, I represent every county in Liberia.
Amen.
Lofians decide to be passive in their desires.
Passive and tribalistic.
Well, there you go. To some, right. Yeah, and I was going to say to some extent, but I'm not going to say that.
I the one who said it, and you will say
right.
It.
Good.
I said it, and I look. I said it. Yeah.
Here's my thing, right? How do we change Liberia if we can be sincere about what we want? Anybody, do you really think I did not want to be on a winning team? Heck yeah.
Me too.
I wanted to be on the winning team. I would have celebrated because you know what? It would have made me look so good because then there would have been like the same credit that is giving Darius DeLone today. It would have been given to Lofa. And the way people credit me for having that level of influence in DeLong's election, it would have been given to me today on the boycott's team. Oh, y'all brought him to power. But that was not my desire. My goal was a true transformation. And if I sincerely did not see it in an individual, I had no reason to simply say, I'm going to support you because I want it to be as though it's a soccer team. I want to win. We just want to get rid of an individual. No, we want a complete recalibration. When you recalibrate the system, you change certain aspects of it so that we can move forward. It is not happening, Sister Cindy, and it did not start in government. It started in our community where we were opportune to serve as community leaders, and we lied to the people. We stole some of their money. We ate the people money, and we may not have been prosecuted. We told these behaviors to national government. Some of the people who supported President Boykai's presidency was in their selfish interest for their own businesses. Some of the people who did it, they did it because they were hoping to be appointed in government.
Yeah.
How in the world can you change a country that way? Sister Cindy, go around your community, go around your city, your state. Just do your own survey and ask the young people who are volunteering their services today, why are you doing it? Not a single one of them will say it's because I want Kamala Harris to appoint me to this position, or because
even us who raising money. I have my team that been raising money. You saw us the last time, like women, influential women from different world. We came together to do our own stuff. Yeah, it's not for job. We're not looking for job.
It's not about job. Not a single one of them will say, "Oh, I want after this person wins an election so that I can go and start my business." No, we must be firm and consistent so that those who follow us can see reason to buy into the idea. In closing, Aliyu Kamara asked, what was my conversation like when I spoke to Darius DeLong? Darius DeLong know that there is no secret conversation between he and I. And then, of course, I respect the young man. When he comes out here, just like Todd Womby. Todd came out here. Todd texted me and said, Lofa, I'm here. Let's meet for lunch or something like that. Give me your number, and I share it. And we were not just, again, due to time constraints and difference in schedule, we were not able to meet to whatever, have lunch or something. Ben Sanvi came in my city. He said, hey, Lofa, I'm here. I'm like, oh, let's meet out here. You're from North Carolina. Let's meet out here, have lunch. Politics is not to create animosities. It is the difference in idea. So when Darius DeLong reached out to me, yes, we spoke. But if you were to call Darius DeLong today, the amount of lashing that I gave to Darius DeLong, this man, and that was the most intriguing part of our conversation. I was on it for almost 30 minutes, just going at this man, and he didn't say anything. He just sat there. So I stopped for a second. I'm like, are you recording me? And then he laughed. He said, no, Lofa, I'm just listening to you. I'm listening to you to voice out your frustration. And we talked. And I told Darius DeLong exactly how I felt and how consistent I would be with my criticism of his governance strategy, or how he had betrayed or deceived some of us, until we can see some level of change. And he said, I'm okay with it. And he gave me few information as to what is really happening in the house. And I said, regardless of those things, I still don't see reason to drop my arms. You must show the light that you claim to have been. And that is just it. The conversation was no more than that. We laughed. We make mockery of other things that I have said. And like you said, every time I come and lash at him, I say, I'm gone, or I'm gone. That's what I normally say. I'm gone. And then he said, I gone, Lofa. And we laugh about it. That was the conversation in its totality. But at the end of the day, what I want you all to focus on is the result. Let us be result driven. Let us orient ourselves to be result driven. If we don't do that, we will fall prey to these corrupt politicians. If you allow yourselves to be easily bought, you will have no reason to talk. Okay? If you allow bribery, you will lose your power to fight against those who are stealing from you. So stand up for yourselves. Don't wait for nobody to give you a dime. And that's the reason why most of them are afraid of me, or they will not engage me, because they understand Lofa don't hold back. It's not because I feel like I got a big head on my shoulder. It's just because I feel like I remain submissive, humble, and pray for God's guardians. And God guide me in his direction. And I submit myself to all of his guardians and pray that I don't step outside of what he actually instruct me to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lofa. To those of you who tune in, thank you for listening. You have a good evening. We will be here Tuesday evening, Thursday evening, and see you Sunday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. Liberian Standard Time. You have a good day. We're here for Liberia. No more, no less, no compromise, but we know who we are. We know our community. We know the people that we elect. So the change starts with us. We want to hold other people accountable. We have to look ourselves in the mirror and judge the man staring back at us. And the man staring back at you in the mirror is you. Change start with you and myself. Thank you so much, Lofa. You have a good evening. Thank you for coming on.
You too, Sister Cindy. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.